And thank you for the presentation. Last B session, we talked about our special needs population, in the outreach, and I did appreciate your honesty. I mean, you said that there was that's an area that we needed to improve. I want to know a little more about what is being expected of those that are being awarded the contracts, and really just, is there been any movement on outreach to our special needs community, or at least some thoughts, some ideas on it?
Yeah, we took a deeper dive at what was self-disclosed as a physical or intellectual disability from our Training for Jobs participants, the old program. We found out we had over 600 participants that were participating in that program that disclosed that they did have a disability, which is great. We've already met with the city's Disability Advisory Council and gave them information about the coming program with SA Ready to Work. We want to continue to reach out to those organizations that, like the Arc of San Antonio, Morgan's Wonderland, to ensure that they are aware of this opportunity so they can help us to spread the word out for targeted outreach with that group. Our marketing agencies that we're going to be contracting, we're going to be working with them very closely to make sure that they're one of our focuses as that outreach push is rolled out. And our partners have a wealth of experience between Workforce Solutions Alamo, Alamo Colleges, Project Quest, as well as Restore Education, assisting individuals with disabilities to get the supports that they need to be successful. So we're confident that we're going to make a concerted effort to improve and do much more intentional connection with those populations with the supports they need to enter the program and ultimately get good paying jobs so they can sustain themselves.
Had all week. Wonderful. A lot of work you've already done on that, so thank you. Really, for me, it was just identifying barriers that to inclusion for our special needs community. But that also goes for our veterans. I love to hear that you're targeting the outreach for our special needs community. If we can extend that to our veterans as well. You mentioned it. We want to improve access to our special needs community, specifically those with developmental disabilities. There's a lot of work that they can do with the right training, and so I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see also, I think it was slide 7, you had that long list of business partners, some that I really wouldn't expect. I wasn't expecting to see our legal industry there, so that's great, and I think that it's really expansive, and I'm really grateful that you've done that kind of work and really done the legwork to make sure that we're reaching out to as many populations as possible. I think that answers actually a lot of my questions, what you just said. I want to just mention again that if we could reach out to maybe our Veterans Affairs Office, our Commission on Veterans Affairs, the City Commission, maybe they can help with some of that outreach. Can you talk to me a little bit more about or maybe walk me through an intake that with some of these, how the intake process, specifically how it's improved from Trained for Jobs to now?
The intake process hasn't begun yet for SA Ready to Work.
Okay.
But what that process will look like, an individual participant will have multiple ways to engage with an intake agency. Let's say they were going through Workforce Solutions Alamo. There are American Job Centers located throughout the city that they'll be able to interface in, walk into, meet with the case manager, go through the intake and eligibility process and get entered into the program directly while you're on site. There's some documentation they'll have to bring in, showing proof of income, proof of residency, attestations if they're homeless or there's other issues that are going on to get them into the program, into that door. But then once they're there, they'll be assigned a case manager that's going to hold their hand and kind of walk them through all the steps they need to go through, all that documentation they need to bring in, helping them to ensure they do that in an efficient and timely manner. We understand that that's important because if there's too much time between the time that they reach out for help and the time they actually get help, that can be detrimental to their success. So we want to make sure that is as tight and as short as possible.
I just want to mention too, you mentioned some of the extra services, the wraparound services. I really appreciate how comprehensive and how thoughtful and methodical y'all were about figuring out what wraparound services are necessary and what those barriers are to get people into, ultimately, of course, into the workforce. And I applaud everyone's efforts and ask that, of course, we continue to think of the populations that historically have been underserved and have difficulties obtaining jobs and work to improve those outcomes. But I do thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you,